Hey everyone, it's me, Sean Capri. Before we start We the GamerCast, I want to let you know that there's some amazing people who support us at patreon.com/makeusbetter. I'm going to tell you who they are at $10 and up, starting with our platinum executive producers, Mr. Corey Hicks at twitch.tv/chicks_18, our gold executive producers, Mr. Mark Moody, Panache, Malloy, Edwin, Calo, Josh Borbone, and Mike BC, and all of our executive producers, Devin, Tyus, Kyle Haiman, Brendan Myers, Tony Hutchinson, Donnie, Reece, ain't no G's in playing Nintendo, Stephen Iafrate, Caro, Underwood, Dude, Dante, Bellini Jr., Kevin Austin, Tammi Ryan, Robert Bobby Miller. I'm going to leave that in there. I'm going to just keep on moving along because David Ray has been there pretty much since the beginning. Thank you everybody so much for supporting us at patreon.com/makeusbetter. And if you don't support us there, totally great. Rate us on iTunes. Help us out in any way you listening here. I just really appreciate it. So with all that said, with all that out of the way, as my boy Joseph would say, let's get on with the show. Hey everyone, it's me, Sean Capri. Welcome to episode 175 of We the GamerCast. Comes to you on iTunes and Google Play and Mother Loving YouTube every single Monday. Thank you for being here. Thank you for hitting subscribe and rating us on iTunes and leaving a comment and all the things that you do, supporting us at patreon.com. It's incredible. It's amazing and amazing. Guys, I am pumped. I feel like the juices are flowing. I had to shake off the cobwebs a little bit last week. I got to just kind of talk to you guys for real. Some things that were on my mind, some things that were weighing on my heart. And between that chat and then the next day I talked with Brock McLaughlin and to a very well-received conversation. I want to thank everybody for all of your kind words, both to myself and to Brock. A lot of people reaching out to both of us, either in the same boat or can relate on the content side. It all matters. Anytime you guys take a moment to reach out in a positive way to somebody, it means a lot to me. I know it means a lot to the guests, and it just makes this whole thing kind of keep going. I don't know, not every show, not every episode, I don't think is meant to change lives necessarily, but just know that we're all in this together. So I'm going to just start off with a little bit of positivity. And if you're new, here's the deal. Every week I have sweet hangs with strangers from the internet. And if you want to be on the show, it's easy. Just tweet at me at Sean Capri. Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants. Now, with all that said, and with all that out of the way, Joseph, that's a great line, man. I am looking forward to December is going to be all returning guests. There's actually not going to be any strangers from the internet. But as I clarified with Brandon Wilson, everybody started as a stranger from the internet, and we're all becoming great friends, whether I talk to you guys or you're all talking together, and you're joining the Discord, and you're hanging out over there, or just hanging out on Twitter. It's all incredible, guys. So thank you so much. So December, all returning guests. We're going to do kind of the best of 2018. I haven't played all the games, and there's no way that I'm going to be getting any more time anytime soon to be doing that. So what I'm going to do, instead of me trying to tell you guys all the best games of 2018, I'm going to bring on people to tell you their maybe top 3, depending on how many games we're going to be able to cover. This is going to be some of the most prepared We the GamerCast that exists. Usually we just fly by the seat of our pants. We know that we're going to chat at maybe 1 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon. That's as much prep as that happens. But for December, we're going to have some things lined up. Make sure that we get a nice selection of different games that people are playing across the year, some indie games, some AAA, some exclusives, all these things. I am totally stoked. And I think that might be something for the future to think about for this show. The one thing, maybe there's themes that we do each and every month. February was a theme last year. Maybe we do something like that for every month if I can. And this is definitely, I got to give a hats off, a tip of my cap to Johnny Casino with Radio Is Lame. I'm not going to do, I can't copy him, man. He's got a great idea. You guys definitely check it out. Lessons to be learned from content creators and all those things. Stories to be told from them. I just like that you got a little point. When you go into, you're going to get a very specific nugget to pull from those episodes. I kind of want to maybe just a little bit, not completely focused, because I just don't do that, but maybe themes. Anyways, I'm rambling because I got a lot to talk about, guys. Some things I'm geeking out about. If you're watching the video, you can see this thing that I bought. I can't really say it too loud, but it's a new video card for my PC. It's really powerful. It's actually really heavy. I don't know how many teraflops are on this thing, but I think at least 4.5, maybe even 7 teraflops on this thing. It's a GeForce GTX 1070 Ti. This is all thanks to patreon.com/makeusbetter. I kind of have to whisper because, it's kind of expensive. So, Chelsea's in the other room. And if anybody tells her this, I'll effing kill you. You know what I mean? Anyway, super pumped. So we're going to be performing surgery on my computer a little later, if you can believe it. Why did I do that? Maybe it'll help with video rendering. I don't know. The other couple things, Bobby, I'm going to geek out here. I'm going to have a couple geek out moments. I was at dinner with my parents earlier today. Chelsea had some much needed rest. You guys know she's like 8.5 months pregnant. Like, well, going on 8 and a bit. She's very pregnant. So she hit the bed and just like, I just got a little lay down. I'm like, you're out, man. You are out. So I took Lincoln, we pieced out, and then I went to Memory Express and I bought that video card, and it's amazing. I can't wait to install this thing. And then we went to my parents' house, and I can't remember what the hell I was saying. I got a notification on my phone that Nintendo Talk Live with Alex Van Aken and Bobby the Nintendo Guru was on. So I fired that thing. I just streamed it onto their amazing, they have an incredible TV. And so we sat there eating dinner with Lincoln and my parents, and Bobby and Alex were up on the TV, and then we kind of got chatting about the internet and like all my internet friends, and like why I think Alex Van Aken is just like the most incredible person, and like my great friendship with Bobby. And it's great too because like I've sent my parents some of the videos. I sent them the video that Bobby made while I was there, like the little vlog that he made while we were there. I shouldn't say little. That makes it sound. It was amazing. And clearly my mom has watched all the things, and clearly my dad has not watched all the things. But it was all good, man. We got to just kind of like dive into my world a little bit with my parents, and that was super cool. So that's something that I'm pretty stoked about. And then after that, I think Alex's mic went out for a little bit, and then we kind of chopped it there. And I showed my parents one of Alex's videos, the Cuphead video about pattern variants. And it was just like, I just wanted to like share what my friends are up to and like why I think they're so talented. And they were just like, we kind of wowed them a little bit. So that was kind of a cool night, guys. And that's kind of it. You know, last week we had a chat with Brock McLaughlin, Canadian, by the way. Today we have a chat with Warren Monteiro, Canadian also. He is from Riboville, which is what I always call Riboflavin's hometown. And this is amazing, guys. This is so good. We didn't really we've been trying to line this up for a little bit. He reached out because he had heard Marissa Roberto on the show, and we have a mutual fandom of the Victor Lucas and the whole like EP and everything like that. And but otherwise, like, this is this is the classic stranger from the internet kind of thing, and it's amazing, and I can't wait for you guys to hear it. I hope you guys enjoy it. Before we get into my chat, I just want to thank once again. The one thing I wanted to say was that this last week, since I sort of like unloaded what was on my mind and what was weighing me down last week, since I just kind of like shrugged that off and kind of got it off my chest, I do feel like the Xbox Drive, if we ran Nintendo, I feel like We the GamerCast last week and the streaming this week was like, for me, super gratifying, super rewarding, and satisfying. I feel like it's on another level. I'm feeling great. I think you guys are really going to enjoy this episode, and why don't we just jump right into it? So here he is. You can follow him at TechJunkieCA, Warren Monteiro. I'm on. I always love not knowing who's going to be on the show, and so the video pops up like, okay, why don't you have pictures of yourself? You're a very handsome person.
I know. Hey, well, I have, my tech junkie persona as well, but then I also have my personal Twitter called Manuel Jackson. And then Manuel Jackson is a crazy guy as well. So I'm trying to, see how I can balance the two of those together. So
yeah, man, absolutely. Well, I get it. Because I started Twitter way back when. I didn't even know what the heck it was, and I don't understand, why can't I make this like Facebook? And so I didn't like it forever, and so I just kind of always had my name. And then all of a sudden, like a couple of years ago, when I started getting more into gaming and podcasting and just like creating that side of my life as Twitter, it's like anybody who wants to, like, if I go apply for a job or anything, like, let's see what Sean Capri's up to, it's like games and let us change our PlayStation names.
Well, your name's always changing. You're like Sean Connery now, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna just change it back. It's getting a little ridiculous. Like, it's getting a little ridiculous. But this is an all Canadian episode of We the GamerCast. Once again, I feel like these are kind of the best, man.
I know. Well, it is Canadian, but you're from Edmonton, I'm from Calgary, so we have some bad blood, right? Always
start hating each other right about now. What's all this smiling and laughing all about, man?
Exactly.
Star-crossed lovers connected by video games. Hey man, I want to ask you about. I always love like kind of just peeking around people's roofs and stuff. Like I want to ask you about your chair. When did you, like, what's the chair about? The game chair, DX Racer.
That's right. That's right. You know, it's like at the office. I'm sitting in some nice chair at the office. Everyone's always, you know, trying to get the best chair at the office. So I finally got a good chair at the office, and I come home and I'm like, man, my chair sucks.
Yeah, man.
This is so bad. So, you know, looking around, I was gonna get an office chair, but you see all those streamers with these, you know, fancy chairs like yours, and you know, with the lumbar support and the full back. And I'm like, you know what? Let me just get a nice chair and see how this goes. So, it's great. I love it. It's a big upgrade for my IKEA chair.
No kidding. I love that. I bet so many people can relate to that right now. Like, yeah, I guess I do have an IKEA chair, and it's kind of like killing my butt. Honestly, like, it took me a little while to get used to. Like, I don't like change. It took me a little while to get used to this thing, especially the lumbar kind of like kicks my butt further in, like down the seat a little bit. But this is a Costco special. Like, I don't know, nobody's heard of this brand.
Oh, Clutch, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Nobody knows. It's just, but I like the colors. It looks like a gaming chair. It's a Costco special, but I recognize your brand. Kind of, oh, well, that's pretty fancy. I like that a lot. So, like, are you at the computer a lot in terms of like gaming and stuff? Like, are you PC gaming? Are you like, why the fancy chair for that setup?
Yeah. Well, I'm a kind of lifelong PC gamer, you know, starting from, you know, Doom, Wolfenstein, Wing Commander, Duke
Wing
Nukem.
Commander!
Oh, yeah.
I love it!
I'm going back, right?
Yeah, man.
So, you know, grew up on that, and, you know, as times change, you kind of go from a PC gamer to a console gamer. Everyone's on console for Halo, and kind of always on the peripheral was the PC side, and then just recently I'm like, you know what, I'm going full in. I need to get my PC back up, get the setup all going. So yeah, that's where I decided to get the chair. I actually just ordered one of the standing desks as well. So
good for you, man.
Yeah, hey.
Where'd you get it from?
Primecables.ca.
Okay, I'm definitely ready. Okay, Prime Cables, I say, if you guys want to throw us like a promo code or something like.
Exactly. Hey, you know, I looked for reviews, looked, and found these guys, Canadian company, free delivery. So I'm excited. So
I'm jealous, man, because my good friend Bobby, the Nintendo guru, he moved into his new place. He got a standing desk, and he uses it like almost like a crane, like with his webcams. So he just like sets it to start going up, and it's just like this amazing like just shift in camera angle. And I don't know, man, it's just incredible. And it'd be good to just get up every once in a while. Like my hips are awful. Can we just talk about being old for a second?
Oh god, it's like I'm doing, you know, the hip flexor stretches. It's been 30 minutes, right? I'm like, oh, my back.
Right? I know. I remember the first time I got a games related injury. Like when I was playing games, I was actually hanging out at my parents' house again for Christmas just a couple of years ago, and they've got like this really tiny, it was actually mine back when I lived there, really tiny like IKEA couch. It was like half back, like it's very nice, like very stylish, but it's just one of those things you throw a wrap on and just kind of call it a day. And I was playing kind of sideways, like it sits along the wall, but the TV is kind of perpendicular, 90 degrees to there, so I'm twisted, right?
Oh god,
and
no.
so I'm playing for hours and hours, and all of a sudden I'm like, why isn't my neck going back? Like I can't. Like, I tweaked my neck playing Uncharted at my parents' house over Christmas, and I'm like, oh, God, that was the sign. It was all going downhill from there.
Yeah, you're like, I'm old. I need to stop doing this, right? This is
at
not
least stretch. I got to warm up for my gaming sessions. How the heck did that happen? Can I tell you a secret? I just ordered like a really, I think it's a really good, I haven't ordered a video card in forever. I just bought a 1070 Ti.
Oh, hey, there we go,
from
man.
Memory Express. So
yes. That's awesome.
It was like $250 off, and I'm like, I think I don't even know why am I doing this? Like,
well, you have to, right?
I guess so.
I have a 1060 in my PC. Got it about a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And you know, it's crazy that the new 2080s are out, and now people are like, oh, I don't even want, 1080s are garbage. It's all about 2080s, and it's like, a 1070 is amazing. A 1060 is amazing, right?
Man.
It's getting up in the hype of the video card marketing, right?
But I love it, man. I love when people kind of just go get excited about the new thing, because I'm there on almost every front. Aside from maybe like my consoles, like I'm pretty jazzed about like when the PlayStation 4 Pro came out, or the X especially, when the Xbox One X came out.
Yeah.
Like, day one, I want that thing. And I feel like the price hasn't really come down. But when it comes to like additional stuff. Like my PC is not the center of my gaming, right? Like this will be additional. So everybody else can go out crazy and get their 2080s and all their crazy stuff. I did the same thing like with Apple, like with iPads. I was just every time a new iPad came out, you look at Kijiji or Craigslist or whatever, and they're just flooded with everybody getting rid of their like last year's model because they want this year's model. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I'll pick up on that. No problem.
All day long, man. So what are you playing on the PC now? You kind of I want to get back to your history a little bit because Wing Commander is the jam. But I think you mentioned a little bit of Destiny, maybe just a touch.
Oh yeah, just a little touch of it's a full-blown issue. It's an addiction at this point. Balancing work and Destiny. The new DLCs come out, and they have this gameplay loop now that it's there's always that carrot that's in front of you that you're always chasing. The world's changing. They're really on top of doing changes now to the environment, the sandbox. So I've been playing Destiny now since, day one, 2014, got a new console, bought it that first day. I used to play Halo and now, Destiny is a game that I think fans of Destiny, they love to hate. Yeah. Like they love to hate that game. And I'm definitely in that camp. I love the game, but I love to hate it as well.
I was going to ask you that.
and I noticed for yourself, I think a little while ago you tweeted, oh man, I want to get back in Destiny. It's been a little while. And, it's these ebbs and flows definitely with that game where people come in, they can kind of hop out. So for yourself, are you back into it? Are you out? Is it?
This is okay. So the video card is not just an isolated incident of me like buying things and I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, I don't even know if I'm going to need this around. I bought like the expansion pack that was on, it was on sale on Xbox a little while ago, which was like the first two expansions, which I would need if I eventually got into Forsaken, but I'm not ready, I don't think, for Forsaken. So I don't know, man. I was playing it a little while ago and I feel like I just need to do a little bit of reading or maybe talk to somebody who knows something. Like, what should I be like? So here's where I'm at. I'm well short of being even raid ready from the original, right? Yeah. So whatever that is, like a level 180, something like that, or 160. Yeah. I can't even remember. I think whatever it is, I feel like I'm 100 or I'm about 15 levels short of that. So I've got some work to do, man. So I've beaten the campaign. I've played a few strikes. But I haven't really done much more. Do I need to start a new character? Like, what should I do? Somebody draw a map for me.
Yeah, that game is. I was in a very similar situation with Destiny 1. I beat the campaign, did some strikes, and I'm like, okay, what else? I'm gonna put this game down. I'm confused. I don't know what to do.
Right.
Went on to something else. I saw a friend on Xbox Live doing a raid one night, and I said, hey, what's this raid thing about? What I don't even know what
Amazing.
It is. And he invited me into his group on a Friday night, and it was the single most best gaming experience I've ever had in my life was raiding. First raid, Vault of Glass, and that sealed the deal for me. I said, wow, I've never experienced something like this in a game ever. Like, all the games I've played in my life, all of the years, doing a raid was something else. So having that experience really kind of changed how I thought about the game and how I wanted to play the game. Like, doing raids, doing a day one, when it first comes out, that's not my league. That's
right.
Streamers are doing that stuff.
Racing do it first.
That's right. And it's like, if I can just get to a point where I can raid with some people, that's great. LFG's hit and miss, right? That's always a challenge as well, finding random people to play with. But they have a boost now. You can just jump into Forsaken, apply the boost, it boosts your character up, I think, to 400 or something. So you can just start playing.
Snap.
Yeah. So you don't have to worry about grinding away at all the old content. You can just start playing the new stuff.
Is that worthwhile? Like, is it worth to skip it? Like, I don't feel like, for me, I don't really have time to really play it all. So I guess if you're just saying like it's a snap of a finger and half the world disappears and then I launch into Forsaken, it's all good. Am I missing anything in terms of like memorable experiences or anything? Did you like the expansions?
Well, the Destiny 2 expansions were horrible.
Oh no.
Well, Osiris was bad. Warmind, they had some really good elements, actually. They started kind of picking it up, kind of getting a good grind going, a cycle. But, for yourself, I'd totally say, get the boost, get Forsaken, get the boost, and play the campaign. The campaign was the campaign for Forsaken is the best Destiny there's ever been.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the thing. This is how stupid I am. Like, I heard all about Gambit and all these other things. Like, I'm thinking all multiplayer stuff. But like, in my core, my Destiny experience is mostly single player or even like campaign with like a friend or something like that. And that's why the aside is that I bought Call of Duty and I took it back after an hour. I'm like, I just need my on-ramp is single player. It always will be, even though I will end up playing multiplayer in Call of Duty, my on-ramp has always been the campaign. So I put it aside. I actually got a refund. I'll buy it again later. But in terms of like a full $80 purchase, I'm like, not right now. I'm going to put that money towards Red Dead, which, I mean, everything's over after that, I think.
Well, yeah. And you know, it's interesting how the industry's changing now. You know, Call of Duty, getting rid of this single player campaign entirely, right? I think with the new one, is it gone or
it's pretty much gone. Everybody's talking about how there's like elements of campaign and like zombies or these other kind of like I guess what Titanfall might have done originally, but even then that I don't even know if it's that overt or clear.
Yeah, you know, it's I love the single player campaign. You know, as I don't admit it, as we're getting older, there's less people our age that I just meet and they're like, hey, let's play, right? Let's do something. So it's the single player is what I like. I love playing that. Multiplayer, it's fun, but I don't have people that I know personally now that still play games, right? Like multiplayer games. So I do appreciate that. I think there's, you know, the games like Red Dead, like they are committed. They are committed to that single player campaign, and it's going to be amazing.
Mm-hmm. I've been like this is one of my favorite things to do. I did it for Spider-Man as well. I have no idea what's coming. The only thing, like only the most outrageous things that people are talking about are like seeping into my like Twitter feeds or into podcasts or whatever. Like I understand that when it's cold out, the horse's junk just like kind of shrinks up a little bit. Like that's kind of like all I know. And like facial hair and stuff, you got to take care of. But like I haven't seen any gameplay. I saw like maybe a little bit of a trailer way back when. But I'm going into this game completely blind. It's like you already have my money. Just let me play the game. I'll kind of discover it all. And for me, I don't know, I want to turn this over to you for a second, but for me, it's a double-edged sword, so I'm surprised by everything. So whenever I start up a game, I have this great, like, I didn't know this was going to be a thing, and here it is, and I've got that wow factor, but at the same time, I miss out on a lot of things. Like, I go into a lot of games completely unprepared, and other people are kind of like, it's common sense for people to play a game like Destiny or Red Dead, they're gonna have a bit of a leg up on me. So I'm curious, like, how did you approach Destiny? It sounds like something very similar, but then kind of got coached along the way, maybe?
Yeah, exactly. And I do appreciate just kind of jumping in there, kind of with fresh eyes, just trying to get it all, experience that whole thing. Because in a lot of cases, I'm just playing the campaign once and then I'm done. I need to move on to something else. I can't just, prestiging and play the campaign over and over to get the achievements. So I like getting everything at once. But if it's a game I'm passionate about, I'm going to the subreddit immediately.
Are you really?
Yeah, it's like I need to go there. I need to see what's going on because there's stuff that the developers have Easter eggs. There's things here. There's things there that kind of enhance the game. So I can appreciate going in fresh-eyed, but if you're passionate about it, you go on that subreddit. But the challenge with the subreddit is that the fans are so passionate that they nitpick everything. Like Puddlegate, right? Puddlegate with Spider-Man, right? Like, that's nitpicking that, right?
Yeah, so. It's interesting. It's interesting because, so this is what I like about you, Warren, already. Like, I'm like, I have a problem, and you're like, if you do this, you will be satisfied. And I'm like, that's kind of like what I need in my life a little bit right now. Is like, because I just wander around and like, I have so many problems, and I don't know what to do about it. And it's like, if you're passionate about it, go to the subreddit. I'm like, why the shit didn't I think of that?
Yeah, exactly. I'm solving all of life's problems. I can't solve my own. But
I should have made a list, man. I should have been like, because there's just too many to pick out of my head. I could have had a whole bunch of problem solving happen right here. This is hilarious. Hey, man, I wanted to ask you a little bit about. Let's go back to the early days. playing on a PC, because you and I think had similar origins, because my neighbor Matt, he had his N64, and I thought his GoldenEye looked like trash, and I had Half-Life, and I got the best AI ever, and I had my 3DFX graphics card. So tell me about your journey into PC gaming as a young man.
Well, at that time, it's your neighbor, your family member, someone that had a computer. Luckily for me, my dad was a database administrator. This was something he was in, so he would bring home the giant 5-pound, 10-pound laptop, and he would have to do work from home. And at those days, it was corporate laptops where there was no real security or anything, so he'd load games on there for me. Yeah. So Saturday morning I'd wake up and I'd go on the laptop and I'd start playing games in, I think, 16 color Tandy, and Tandy. I'm going back, right?
Yeah, man.
I'd play all those games, and that's where kind of a passion for PC gaming came from, because we didn't have a Nintendo, but I had my dad's laptop. And as soon as we got that 386 computer, that's when everything changed for me. I was like, holy wow, I got my Gravis gamepad.
Yes, Gravis gamepad. I love it, dude. Oh my goodness. Half the people are like, what are they even talking about? It's like this, like, what did it even plug into? Like this serial port, or it kind of looked like a VGA port. Like, and worked maybe half the time.
That's right.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, for us anyways.
Well, and I don't know, it's like, going and flicking dip switches on your motherboard to try to get the ports ready and try to get that stuff all set up. I look back at it being so nostalgic, and that was such a good time.
Oh my God, no kidding.
But man, just plugging in a USB cable and just having things work is that's so much better than, spending hours, trying to troubleshoot.
Yeah, plug and
ports.
play. Like this is magic, dude. I still remember reading my PC magazine when they're like the Universal Serial Bus or whatever it's called. I'm like, what? And they're talking about you can connect like 128 devices. I'm like, who has 128 devices? But like, here we are. Like, I need all these ports, man. Everything runs off of USB. I still remember like them introducing that as like, this is the future. And it's so incredible, because like, I don't know, most people don't remember a day when you weren't like, you had to like shut everything down, you had to like plug it in and you start it up, and then maybe things would work. And if it didn't, like, you shutting everything down again, and like that reboot, pretty long back then, man.
Yeah, exactly. So having a computer back when I was younger, and then I was just always kind of gravitating towards that computer. It's like, oh, I need to do an assignment. And this is, pre-internet. We're using Encarta.
I love it. Yeah, man.
We're using Encarta on the computer, and I'm on the computer, and I want to go play games. I want to start playing, Doom, Wolfenstein, like I said. And I had friends coming over and playing on a keyboard and mouse. It was, or actually just keyboard even for most of those games at that time. They're like, oh, this is crazy, right? This is like, we don't have this. And then it was like, I had friends coming over to my house to play on the PC when they had a Nintendo at their house. So I knew there was something special, and I love the technology, and that's kind of just grown with me now from PC gaming now into kind of my career where I'm a system administrator now. So.
Yeah, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, I guess. Eh?
Yeah, exactly.
Dad's super proud, bringing your own laptop home, but it's all that. You're right, man. You can't put anything on, like even on my work phone. Like I can't put anything onto that thing. That's actually why I ended up having to have my own personal phone after dropping. This is a tragic story. I had the same phone number since like high school. I had it for like 15 years or something. And they're like, "Here's a work phone." I'm like, "Hooray!" And I cancel. I'm gonna get rid of my own phone bill and just use this thing. And I just walked away from my phone number that everybody knew. It's like nobody remembers phone numbers anymore. That's then I'm just like, everybody, if you could just use this phone number instead. And then as time went on, couldn't use Facebook on it. You couldn't do like fantasy football or anything like that. I'm like, maybe I want my own phone back. And of course, your phone number's long gone. So it's terrible.
And phones now are a big technology thing in themselves, right? Like now people pull out their phones as that's the thing. Or like, what are you playing? Oh, I'm playing a mobile game now, right? Like I know friends that were huge into PC gaming and console gaming. Now they're just phone gamers, right? Just mobile games. So having that flexibility to play what you want on your own device.
I love that positivity, because I was thinking like, yeah, now like they used to be PC gamers, and I was like, and now they're just misguided, or they're mobile. I mean, you call them mobile gamers. That's fine.
Misguided
Yeah.
mobile.
Dude, it was great today. So, just to help us feel a little bit younger today, I was at McDonald's with my son. We were just having a little bit of a Happy Meal, and just before we went out to the playground and stuff. And we're sitting there and we're having a good time. And then next to us is a table of 4 like grandpas. Like these guys are like 80 years old and just like old men yelling at clouds and stuff. They got their newspapers and they're just pointing out all these stories. They're pointing out all the problems with the world and everything, and all these kids and how entitled they feel and everything. And I'm like, okay, like I feel like I'm kind of old, but I'm like, I'm not there yet. Like I still think like the youth of today are probably better than I was. You know what I mean? Like,
well, we're definitely at this age. Like, I'm not. You're in your mid 30s, early 30s?
Yep, 34. Yeah.
34. Yeah, I'm 35.
Mm-hmm.
And I think really for our age group, especially, is that there's this kind of cutoff where I have friends that are like, they're at the point where they're yelling at clouds now, right?
It's
and
a little early.
Saying, these millennials, this, and I'm like, hey man, we're in that demographic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you really want to look at it, we're still millennials. So, when you're complaining about these 25-year-olds and these 20-year-olds, this and that, we're in that group. So, but then I have friends that are like, they're all in, right? They're all in with the Snapchat, Instagram, they're Twitch, they're on everything. And I feel I'm definitely more in that group than I am with the other group. But definitely with our age, I find there's this split, right? It's not really cut and dry like, everyone, 10 years, kids that are 25, they're kind of all together, and people that are in their 40s, they're kind of all together. So
yeah,
it's very interesting, this age group.
Yeah, the 30-year-olds are a little weird in that sense. Do you think that the differentiation is like a love for technology or games, or maybe even the fact that we have something that we can still engage with now that was so like core to our youth, and like maybe that's what kind of keeps us a little on the younger side, rather than like I look at I have friends who kind of are on that other side of the pool, like you said. They never really had that, so like you kind of grow up maybe faster, which is maybe good in a sense, but also like you're just kind of racing to that table at McDonald's and yelling about these kids these days and everything.
I think you kind of touched on a good point there with the technology piece. My friends that were hardcore ICQ, hardcore hardcore MSN, they're the ones that are still, they're sending their snaps, they're on Instagram, they're doing their Instagram stories. I think that connection that we had when we were younger using that technology, now that it's just evolved to, in our hands and our using an app on our phone, it's still essentially the same thing. We're still messaging, we're still communicating, but we just did it differently back then, and we had that passion back then for communicating all the time, sending funny things. Yeah,
we had to take somebody off the computer if we want to. Like, I'm going on ICQ, Dad.
Yeah, I got serious chats I need to talk about.
I know.
You wouldn't believe what happened in Miss Green's class, right?
I know, Miss Green. I remember my younger brother and I, like, we're 2 years apart, really, and him and I were like not seeing eye to eye on the whatever instant messenger was at the time. Right, so I was all in on ICQ. All my friends were using ICQ, and he's like, "No, man, MSN Messenger is where it's at." I'm like, "Who needs that?" And it's like, you can see when they're typing, and it's like it's instant, like literally, like remember the delay with ICQ?
Yeah,
it was like,
yeah.
Oh, it was awful.
Oh, you would just be waiting, and you're just waiting and waiting for something.
That's
right?
why you had to have like 15 of them going, because it was kind of like playing online poker. You can't just play one, because everybody's got to take their turn and finally gets around to you. You got to have like 15 games going. But anyway, I want to fast forward to the future a little bit, into the future shop. That may have been the best segue I think I've ever done.
Yeah, there we go.
Just landed in there. So whenever I talk to like my friends in the States, I always tell them I work at Canadian Best Buy, just so that they kind of understand. Like, it wasn't really Best Buy. Like, there's actually like a pretty key difference from Future Shop to Best Buy. Future Shop is actually where my family got our first computers, where we got like all our stuff. Our VCRs came from there. And I remember my dad never trusted a salesperson. He was always going in there, and like they're always trying to just rob you blind, and you can trick them. You can like say like, well, guess what? I'm going to take my business elsewhere. And you kind of like, he would do the turn, like waiting for them. But wait.
I'll throw in that mouse.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
I'll give you a VCR head cleaner if you buy it today. Like, he had a unhealthy relationship, I think, with salespeople, and then I grew up to become one. Future Shop got bought out, of course, by Best Buy at some point. And it was around that time that I started to work for Future Shop. And the key difference is, for those who don't know, you made commission or you had the potential to make commission at Future Shop, and Best Buy, their whole motto was, we don't do commission, so you can trust us. So it was very interesting that the same company owned both sides of the spectrum, because I believe that there was pros and cons to both. So I'm curious your journey into Future Shop. Like, what did you sell? Like, what was your experience like?
So I actually did not work at Future Shop, but I had many friends that did work at Future Shop.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood the messaging that we had before about, like, we could just talk about Future Shop if we wanted.
But Future Shop was it was a mainstay. I had so many friends coming and going and working there, and when they shut down, I had actually a few people that came from Future Shop into the company I was at, and the stories I would hear about scams with insurance, selling people like 3-year insurance, 2-year insurance, and people breaking things, bringing them back in just to get their deal. Man. It's like, no wonder they might have kind of gone under, right? But Future Shop was a mainstay. But
I see, as a fan of the place that I worked at, I think we just didn't sell enough insurance, man. That's why we went under. That stuff was so profitable. That was too good. That's the reason it all went down to crap. I just loved it, man. One of the things that I did, this is awful, but I think the statute of limitations is up. But my original Xbox had broke, and I had this great idea to just buy another one and then put my broken one into the new box and bring it back. I didn't expect them to open up the box and find my. I cleaned it, but I didn't clean the vents. So they were looking at all angles, like, okay, it looks good. I'm like, okay, yes, they're gonna do it. And then they just turned around to the vent. And I'm like, oh, and it's caked in dust. Like, it's just like, the thing was so old, and they're like, what is this? And I'm like, you got me. So I kind of like took it. I drove across the street to the other store, and I got it done there.
Oh my!
So I think that's the reason why. I think that's the reason why they may have gone out of business.
Yeah, so. Exactly right. Well, and with those big box stores, they're kind of all going away now, right? Like, I know so many people now with Amazon Prime, and ordering from Amazon now is so quick, amazing, efficient.
Yeah.
It's like I'm addicted now to Amazon. It's like I'm having a conversation with you, and it's like, oh, what was that?
I know.
Yeah. It's gonna be at my house in 2 days. Thanks.
It's gonna get to the point, like, I guess that's the whole Alexa thing. We got Google Home in our house. I don't know. Do you have like one of those like digital assistants or anything in your place?
Yeah. We have the Echo Dot now. Yeah. Yeah.
What's that like?
It's good. I use it every morning for, hey Alexa, what's my flash briefing? She tells me what the temperature is going to be for the day, gives me, this update on the CBC. While I'm making, this is so Canadian, right?
Yeah.
While I'm making my breakfast, and we use it for that often. For my lights now, we have the Philips Hue lights in our house, so I use that. So I'm still not getting the full thing. There's so many skills you can add to that. There's even skills for Destiny, right? You can tell Alexa, give me my best loadout, and it'll just load all your weapons for you.
How does that even connect? That doesn't make that. Okay, this is me being way too old. How does that? I don't understand. I don't get. Like, is there like a Destiny, like kind of like a mobile app that they have for Alexa, and they logs in with your account and everything?
I think the way it works is that their API is open for people to interact with. So if you authenticate through Bungie.net and you use the Amazon skill, then the Amazon skill can do your loadouts for you.
This is the future. This is
right?
Both awesome and terrifying at the same time. Like, what happens if she becomes self-aware, man? Like, this is it. I've always
Stop deleting my stuff.
I know. Well, she's like, it's for your own good.
Yeah, you have an issue. I'm deleting your stuff.
Yeah, I'm actually improving your life. I'm actually enhancing. So, how does your how did you end up getting into your day-to-day life, your day-to-day job, like following in your dad's footsteps, like education wise, or like what was that path, and what is your day-to-day like now?
Yeah, growing up, I have this report I did in grade 4, and it's like, what do you want to do when you grow up? And everyone's like, I want to be a fireman, I want to do this, and I said, I want to be a games developer.
Nice.
And I thought it was going to be fun and easy. I'm like, I want to be a games developer. This is so cool. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I thought I was just going to be able to jump in, and going through high school, computers were a thing, and we started taking programming classes. And like, I don't know if I really love programming. Go to university, I go to computer science, and I started realizing, okay, yeah, we're doing more programming, more math.
Yeah.
When can I do the fun stuff? And I actually did 3.5 years of computer science, and I was doing political science classes as options. And finally, 3.5 years in, I said, that's it. I'm done. I cannot do,
Wow.
I do not want to do this anymore. I do not want to be a code junkie. I just do not want to be sitting doing code all day. So I did something against all good judgment, what everyone told me not to do, and I decided to flip. And my major I became a poli-sci major.
Yeah.
And my minor was computer science.
What was that like? So like, what's the family environment in terms of like, okay, mom and dad, this is what I'm doing. Like, is it just like they're just like that? You may have well just like shot him in the leg, or is it like a lot of support for just you following whatever feels right for you?
Yeah, my parents didn't really have much pressure. They said, we just want you to finish university. Just do what you need to do. We think you should do a computer science degree. We want you to have a Bachelor of Science, but we're going to support you whatever way you want to do. Just please finish your schooling now, right?
Yeah, at this stage of the game, they're like, okay, well, we could like lay down the hammer, but finishing's better than not finishing.
Just finish something. So all my schoolmates were like, "What are you doing? Don't do that." And excuse me. What I ended up doing was I finished with my political science degree, and I got a job in oil and gas doing IT support instantly. Like, I wasn't even done school, and this is great times in Alberta, 2006, oil and gas. Yeah. They'll hire anyone. So that was really my foot in the door. As I got a job, at one of the big oil and gas companies doing desktop support. And that desktop support job just kind of evolved into doing large deployment projects, having teams. And now I'm a consultant doing system administration work. So work on servers, virtual environments, which is kind of different. It's almost similar to desktop support, but it's on a much larger scale, and everything's kind of virtual or in the cloud.
Yeah. So then how much do you put like yourself in? Because like a lot of us who like games and all these things, we really have no idea how any of this stuff works. We don't know how games go from like beeps and boops and zeros and ones to like, all the things that we experience. Like how much of like what in that world translates into game development? And then how much are you kind of like, are you seeing the Matrix, I guess is my question. When
I'm definitely not seeing the Matrix. Okay. Maybe this week after, this week, October 17th, I was definitely seeing the Matrix. but I think game development is a very fine art skill. There's so much involved with it, and especially even a game like Destiny, where it's an online game. You have all these clients, you have this server environment. I can kind of understand more from an infrastructure level how stuff is set up, but really and from a hardware level, your base hardware we're using in our Xbox One X or in our PCs or the PlayStation. So I understand that, but really the game side of things and the coding and stuff like that, that's kind of above my head.
Yeah, but so do you feel like you dodged a bit of a bullet? Like, do you feel like you definitely made the right choice? Like that, what a fork in the road, man. Like, especially when you're in the middle of school, and it seems like school already, if you just do the 4 years, it's like, this is forever. 4 years. Like I just did like 3 years in high school. That's more than high school. Like, yeah, like at the time, it's just funny how time works depending on like where you are in life, and for you to either extend or just kind of put a question mark around when is the end date. That I had a similar experience in terms of changing majors, or even having like going for work experience midway through my degree, and it was just like every choice pushed your end date further and further away. And for some people there's comfort in that, because like getting out of school is terrifying, because then you have to move out of your parents' house or whatever and get a job, and like there's the real world out there. So some people kind of want to stay within school. But to my original question, like, did you feel like like you got the pretty immediate affirmation that was kind of the right choice?
It's so hard because really it's such an ambiguous thing with a political science degree, right? Like it's what do you do with that? And for me, it was more those classes. We'd have great discussion. We would debate. We would talk. It was really, you're thinking about life and stuff in those classes. Where in the computer science classes, we're talking about like zeros and ones and gates and stuff like that, and it was very dry. So for me, I thought kind of more kind of analytical in that thing that I think this is a much more bigger life skill to understand how the world works, how things operate, rather than this very small niche. And I'm definitely not trying to minimize what the computer science is, but for me, that's what I felt I was going to get way more out of university doing that. And coincidentally at that time, kind of 2004 for me, I'm a big pop culture person, love pop culture, and there's been a switch, definitely even in recently, that politics is kind of, there's pop culture and politics now. And that 2004 time period with George Bush, lots of stuff happening there. I was like, wow, this is like crazy stuff that's going on, not in politics but pop culture, and there's this kind of intersect now. So I was just trying to learn why are celebrities getting angry at politicians? What's happening? Why is everyone so upset? Why is everyone so involved? So that was kind of a driving factor for me for understanding kind of how the world works.
I think part of it is storylines. I think that's like anytime something becomes bigger than or takes a leap forward, it's like esports or even sports in general. It's when you have these people that are larger than life, that have like a beginning, middle, and end. They have a bit of an arc to their story that people take notice, and that's kind of where I think that's the intersection of like politics and pop culture, or gaming and pop culture, is just kind of like, who's this ninja guy? What did he say about women? Like who? Like it kind of, you can kind of apply that to everything, that nobody cares about something until somebody until there's tension or there's conflict, and then there's resolution, like kind of typical kind of storytelling stuff. And so all this there's usually a point to my rambling, because I think that I've sort of, I see your dad in you in terms of like the data and the comp sci stuff, but I see a little bit more of a qualitative side. I see more of the storytelling, a little bit more analytical and like conversational. What does your mom do?
Yeah. My mom's a teacher, actually.
There it is. Yep.
Right. So, you have that balance with the social sciences and then the sciences, right? So, and in that teaching role, you're talking, right? You have to be a good conversationalist. You're talking to kids, you're talking to parents, you're talking to the professionals. Yep. So, definitely she has the gift of gab as well. Really? So.
What is it like growing? So I always was, I had a bunch of friends. My neighbor was one who, his mom was a teacher. A bunch of my, some of my best friends, their parents were teachers. In some cases, both parents were teachers. Like, holy crap. I'm always curious, because I was like, it just seemed like you couldn't escape school. Like as a kid, I was terrified. Like you don't want to go home with teachers or go to school with teachers. You come home and there's a teacher there too. Like, they're everywhere. Like, so what was it like having a parent who is a teacher? Like, was she able to kind of separate her professional role with like still wanting to see you excel in school? I always think that'd be a tough gig, man, as a parent.
Yeah, well, luckily for me, she was in early childhood education, so grades 1 through 6.
So you're there in, like high school, and she's like blue and green.
Yeah, it's like but when she became a teacher, I was just kind of getting out of elementary school. So luckily for me, she wasn't really too involved with like, oh yeah, this is what the curriculum should be. This is what you should be learning. But definitely, growing up, school was very important. And that's where kind of, what I was saying before, they didn't care that I switched my degree, but we still want you to finish, right? Yeah. This was the whole thing with you going to high school, and we're supporting you. I was very lucky they supported me through university, that we want you to finish and we want you to get a great job and move forward. So, that's one of the things growing up that you start thinking back as you're older, like for what you want for your kids and how you were raised, right? Yeah. So like, for yourself, like, are you in your mind, is it, hey, I want my son to go to university and this is the way it's going to be, and
university or some sort of post-secondary? So like that, I think that's kind of like where I always want to evolve like whatever it was that was taught to me, not necessarily like, I don't want to throw it out. I want to iterate. Like a lot of people will like rebel and they'll be like, I want to do the exact opposite of my parents. It's like, Are you that like hard off? Like, are you like, is your life actually pretty good? And if that's the case, then maybe you want to adopt some of the things that your parents did. I had great parents. They were always putting the kids first. They had 4 of us, for God's sakes, and they had like, and for many years they had 1 car. So I don't understand like how that happened. So I really acknowledged a lot of like their "we come first" kind of mentality. And then also like my parents, they had us delivering flyers since we were 8 years old. Like grade 3, we're out in like Edmonton winter weather, like carrying like
Wow.
the Edmonton Examiner. These things are just like they're a big old newspaper, and you're slamming like flyers in these things. They're just heavy, and it takes you at least an hour, which as a kid, they might as well be all day. And every like half of every paycheck went into an education account, which you might as well just like burn the money in front of our faces. So luckily, like, you know, years go by of this, half of every check from what were we, 8 years old till 18. It's like 10 years of,
Wow.
you know, $50 here, $100 there, whatever. And I had bought a laptop, didn't have to even think about it. Like I didn't have student loans, so I'm very grateful for that. Chelsea, on the other hand, I think is similar to you in that her parents put her through school, and there's obviously benefits to that as well. And so for us to come together and go, I'm like, I obviously see a tremendous amount of benefit of learning about the work ethic growing up, and not having to worry about student loans was obviously something that we connected on. So we have kind of this thing of whatever it is, whatever Lincoln or the other kids want to do, we will match. So they have to save up for their own stuff, and whatever if they save $1,000, we'll give them $1,000. If they save $20,000, we'll give them $20,000. So we are now like putting money aside. So if just in case like they come up with like $20,000, then we kind of we got something to worry about. But that's kind of like the approach. And for me, in terms of like university, I'm not as locked in on university as much as I am just post-secondary. Yeah. So especially like with trades and stuff, like I went to university. All my friends went to, they became plumbers and electricians and everything. And it's like, I didn't even know that was a thing. Like my world was just so closed off to that and most things, which I think is a bit, that's as a parent now, I just don't know, like, how do you open the world up to the kids? Like, how did you, I guess you kind of like followed a little bit with your parents as well, like in terms of discovering a career path.
Yeah, exactly. And I totally agree with you on the post-secondary thing. For me, it was very tunnel vision, where it's like, you're going to the University of Calgary, this is where you're going to go, we want you to get a degree. And while I was in school, again, at 3.5 years in, where I had that moment where I'm like, this isn't for me, I really realized that I should have actually gone to the technical school. I should have gone to SAIT. Yeah. That would have been a way better move for me and for what I was passionate in. But, I was definitely pigeonholed into that. But then flip side is, coming out of university, getting a job instantly, I don't know if I would have had the same opportunity. So it's so hard to think back what I, could have done, should have done. Mm-hmm. But in the end, I am in an industry, in an area where I'm happy with.
Nice, man. You seem genuinely like jubilant. Like right from the moment that like the whole thing, just like this call started, just like big old smile. Like you just seem like a happy dude. That's awesome.
Oh man. Yeah, well that's good. That's there's so much other stuff to be angry about in the world, and I just let so much stuff just pass. And again, that still might be October 17th hangover, still kind of
so funny, dude. I love it.
Lingering.
I think most people know what we're talking about, but yes, finally marijuana legal across. Like it's kind of nuts, man. Like it's almost good even if you don't participate, just to recognize that this is kind of a monumental shift. Like for a whole, like our country operates for the most part, I think, as like a unit. Like everything aside from Quebec wanting to leave us every couple of years, like we pretty much like the laws kind of affect most of us all together. Well, even though I say that, there are differences, I guess. Drinking starts at 18 here in Alberta, so that's. For me, that's the right age. Yes. Then you get done drinking a little bit sooner as well.
Yeah.
You got 14-year-olds sneaking into bars, but whatever.
I do though think that the cannabis culture and the gaming culture, there is definitely some synergy going on there for sure. and the two of them go together. And I think it is good now that, people can openly talk. I was in shock this week at work. People were just openly talking about stuff that I would have never in a million years thought, this person was partaking in this, and everyone kind of had a smile. People were talking, managers were talking about the stuff. People, and I think the stigma still exists. There is going to be a stigma for
sure.
a while, but people are way more open about this, and I think it's great that people are talking about it in a way that's responsible, and not talking about being excessive and stuff like that, but enjoying responsibly. And again, that gaming and the cannabis culture, I think that's going to grow. It's going to be and it's always been growing. That's always part of it, right?
Definitely. Now I'm realizing that I think Xbox Canada just like missed out on a huge opportunity. Like Xbox like bleeds green, man.
Yes.
Guys, come on, get with it. Like we knew this was coming for a little while. That's awesome, man. So you kind of discovered this show, I think, when Marissa Roberto was on. I was very lucky to have her on as a guest. And then I believe before we started, were you saying you were watching a little bit of EP?
Yeah. And it's funny you're talking about Xbox Canada, and then Marissa Roberto. I think she's still part of them, but she's now on Heads Up daily now. And EP, that's as a Canadian growing up, early 2000s, even I think late 90s. EP was such a mainstay in the gaming culture, technology culture. What everything that Victor Lucas has done, the man hasn't aged a day. I don't know how.
Know. God, I hate that guy.
Like, my hair is gone, and Victor Lucas has got his, full head of hair, no wrinkles. Like, I don't know what he's doing.
Everything right, man. His diet, everything's perfect.
Yeah, and
put that guy on the back of the $5 bill. I'm sorry for interrupting again. Seriously. Canadian hero.
Our love and admiration for Victor Lucas, eh?
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, it's interesting to see, a switch with him from his show. They had the highs on G4 and they were everywhere. I think they were saturated a little bit because, it'd be like every day I come home and, they'd have EPN, they'd have another Reviews on the Run. But I still support, him. I still watch his live casts. I still, watch their show. They do amazing stuff. And it's good to see, how this industry is evolving. Other people are going to be taking that throne, right? People are going to be slowly taking that area, and I think it'll be kind of a YouTube focused thing where before, we were introduced to Victor through local TV. We used to watch him, so it's saturated on YouTube, but I'm hoping you can get the daily fix from somewhere, right?
I love it. Do you think that video games sort of being taken off of TV in that sense, at least in Canada, does that like delegitimize the that's a word I shouldn't say in public, like does it do a disservice though? Because like I wonder, how am I trying to say this? I think about like the age of people creating the content, the age of the people being like the influencers or the content creators, and I wonder if it's always going to be like a 20-year-old, or is there an opportunity for people who are kind of getting into it now, or maybe they've been doing it for a couple of years, they're big. Are they going to see a similar drop off that Victor Lucas, I think, saw once he was kind of like, once TV went away from me, he did not make the jump over to YouTube. And I worry about people who are established. I think about like the Andrea Renee actually talked about this a little while ago. She's like, I can't do this when I'm 40 or 50 years old. And I'm like, I don't know if that's true or if it's not true. Like it's probably good for her to like maybe battle against that and expect it to be a challenge. But I don't know. Like, what are your thoughts on like the content creators and where they are in their life journeys versus the audience that's there?
Well, this has been coming up a lot. I think there's this debate that, and I don't know if it's, has validity or not, that YouTube content creators aren't journalists. Right. Trained journalists. I'm not saying that's all of them, but this has come up quite a bit, and I can appreciate someone that has gone to school maybe or done journalism. They know how to write well. They know how to review things analytically. It's not like, just this giant neon thumbnail of someone ranting for like 10 minutes about something. So there is still an art form to creating content in a form that people can sit down and watch. But that sit down and watch isn't that 22 minutes, 30 minutes with commercials anymore. Right. It's a 10-minute, 5-minute snippet, and you have to get a lot of information in there. So I think your old school journalism skills might not carry over to, 5 minutes, get all your content, get the point across, and keep the audience engaged. And you have to grow that audience as well. So it's definitely changed, but someone who's flexible, I think they can still do well. I'm actually meeting next week. I don't know if you remember Steve Dotto. He used to have a technology show, Dotto's Data Cafe, back in the day. Technology guy, PC guy, Mac guy. And, his show ended a few years ago, and now he's heavy on the content creation, social media, marketing side of things. So he's definitely pivoted, and I think some of these guys have to pivot and change. He still has the skills. He can still speak well into the camera. And those are all really good skills to have, but you I think have to pivot in what you're doing and still kind of take those fundamentals and use them in a different way.
That gives me. I think a lot of people who listen to this are also content creators, and are like, okay, let me just hit pause. Let me get my notepad, because I think that's a lot of really good. I think that's the thing, is that, especially bringing it back to Victor Lucas, like, just locked in on TV. Like, he felt like that was the home, and that was the way that it would become mainstream, and maybe just stayed on there just a little too long, or maybe expected them to the support that was there that would always be there. But I have never ending love for Victor Lucas and that whole crew, man. Like, Chelsea and I forged our relationship just like sitting there watching EP Daily, every single reviews on the run every single day, and like you just never really appreciate to the fullest while it's on. You're like, man, this person says something that I disagree with, and the next thing you know, they're like off the air, and it's just really awful. I miss those days so much, man. Do you have any questions for me before we wrap up? I always kind of throw a slew of questions out, and like I was wondering, like, if you had anything on your mind before like we started, or like something that prompted you to be on the show or anything like that.
Well, I'm slowly kind of growing my my YouTube channel as well, and I'm just trying to look for content creators and people locally, people that are kind of interested in things that I'm interested in, and just seeing your name come up, and then watching and listening to the podcast and YouTube show, and kind of going to the website as well. I was fascinated. I was like, wow, this is like something, someone in Edmonton who's doing some really amazing work. Like, this is awesome stuff. And,
doesn't happen often out of here, trust me. No, actually, Edmonton is pretty incredible. Like, come on, we got BioWare. So there's
BioWare, and, there's another huge Destiny content creator, M-Tashed out there. Mm-hmm. He's huge, and it's like a spark for me realizing, hey, we don't have to be right in California, right where traditionally areas where you think things are happening. Like, yourself, I think you're making some amazing content right here in Edmonton, in Alberta, and it's inspiring to see someone doing this stuff. So for me, I just wanted to have an opportunity to chat with you and kind of learn from you as well with what you're doing. I don't
like this stuff.
Well, and for me, I'm not at this point yet, but soon I think I'll be, might be having a family, and for yourself, it's balancing. You have, you're doing these interviews, there's a website, there's all of this stuff going on, plus your family and their relationship and your wife. I'm wondering, how do you do it? Right? That's my biggest question to you, is how do you do this, and how are you growing the tribe as well?
Step one is have an amazing wife or partner or whoever it is. I think that's honestly, that's step one, and all of the steps. Everything else becomes so much easier if you meet somebody who and are with somebody who understands who you are at your core. Like, Chelsea knew who I was, who knew that I would be doing this before I was doing it. You know what I mean? Like, she knew that, like, when I was starting to just like write about stuff, she's like, she saw the path before I even did. Like, she talked about it in our wedding vow. It's like, I will be there for you to follow your dreams, is what she said. And it was just like, holy crap, I'm so fortunate. So in terms of like carving out time for this, it comes out of a mutual understanding that like I am better for this, and that I then like, this is the me time, and then like us, like the us together becomes better. So I think that's really the bulk of it. And then, I don't know, just making sure that this is always the side project, if that makes sense, is kind of the other part. But I mean, man, like, I'm not gonna, I don't feel like I've got it locked down at all. It's just kind of like making it up day to day, and like some days are just like, that's it, it's all over, I'm throwing it all out, I can't do it anymore. And then I have a great chat like this, and it's just like, this is exactly why you let strangers on the internet come on and you chat with them for an hour, just like, because you just never know. And I just can't believe, like, the internet is full of just boundless assholes.
Yes,
you know, and I haven't had any of them on here. Like, what are the chances of that? I meet so many incredible people, so I'm always being encouraged by the kindness and generosity by the people within video games. I always knew that like nerds would come together, we'd rule the world. So it's kind of it's a coupling of, I have a great wife, I have a great spouse, and then just meeting amazing people that just kind of fuel the whole fire. If there was any imbalance on either of those things, it all falls apart and we just all go away, call it a day. So I think that's what I would say to that.
Okay, so you just wing it.
Pretty much is very, very fortunate. Not without my slew of stomach problems and sleep deprivation, but that's those are the stuff that we don't really talk about.
Exactly.
That's just right. Smile through all that stuff. But Warren, thank you so much for taking time out of your day, man. Why don't you tell everybody where they can find you on the internet? I feel like you're on the cusp of just unleashing upon us all of the things. So tell us where we can find you and follow you and stuff.
Yeah, so I have a YouTube channel, the Tech Junkie CA, Twitter, Tech Junkie CA, a blog that is very not ready but slowly getting content. That's also the techjunkie.ca. And for daily musings and ramblings, that's Manuel Jackson on Twitter. Maybe not so PG friendly on there, but I love Twitter. So I'm managing two of those accounts is always fun. So
I love it, man. Well, I'm definitely intrigued by that, so I'll be checking that out as well. Everybody else should. Thank you so much, Warren. This has been incredible. I never know who's going to come on the show, and you've been an absolute pleasant surprise. And just I think I'm going to be smiling for the rest of the day. So thank you so much.
Hey, thanks for having me, Sean. Really appreciate it.
It was bugging me the entire time Warren and I were talking. From the moment his camera lit up and he had that smile and the handsomeness just waved across my screen, and I was just trying to I got the same kind of butterflies a little bit as Joe after work. When I watch Joe after work, it's the same feeling. He's such a lovable person. Warren, who knew, man? Thank you so much for being on the show. Guys, if you watch the video, you might know what I'm talking about. He's like Canadian Joe after work. There's no better way to describe it. So I hope you guys, maybe some of you guys are catching on to that as well. I don't know if it comes through just the audio, but just the same kind of just very humble, very smart, very articulate. Just Joe after work. Tech Junkie CA, guys, follow him on Twitter, techjunkie.ca. The music was brand new on OC Remix earlier this week. It's the Darkwing Duck. Playtime's over at ocremix.org. So guys, go check it out. Give them clicks. Give them all the clicks. Listen to do it daily. I don't know what that does for them. I don't know if that actually helps. I think they've got a Patreon. You can support them on Patreon as well. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean Capri. Of course, Sean like Connor, Capri like the pants. You can follow the show, We the GamerCast. Follow the website if you like, We the Nerdy. It's not my website. I wasn't gonna completely cut off Warren a little bit. It's not my website. I just kind of get to put myself there, so I'm not running anything over there. But I appreciate it, and I'm sure they appreciate it. Andrew appreciates it, but I appreciate it if you support us at patreon.com/makeusbetter. You can make this show better. You can help support the video cards and things like that. I don't know why it's necessarily a secret, but this is kind of a fun little gig that we got going on. But also you can support PSVG. Remember, because we hit our goal, the Nintendo Shack has its own feed. So now you don't have to listen to all of the PSVG, although maybe you might end up there. But go support the Nintendo Shack. It's my number one Nintendo podcast. I'm so sorry that all the other podcasts that do Nintendo, including my own. It's just the way it's gonna have to be, guys. The Nintendo Shack, because you got Caro, dude. You got Ain't No G's and Playing Nintendo. Sometimes you got Flexy, the guy from Flexopposed. He doesn't miss a Flexopposed episode, that's for sure. Of course, Warp Whistle Gaming and Nintendo Nostalgia support at patreon.com/makeusbetter. If you don't support us there, rate us on iTunes. That really helps. Thank you, Gary Green, Adam Leonard, and Antonio Guillen. Otherwise, this is episode 175. I ran out of time with the GamerCast. Now in your ears, I'm going to talk to you guys next week. I hope you're there too. Now it's time for Jason. I rushed way too fast, guys. I had a little bit more time before Jason showed up. But here he comes, right here, right now.
Jason! 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 Sean! 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 Sean, where are you? Jason! 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 Sean! 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 Jason! 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 Jason!